Here we go. So this is Lou Martin, and I am absolutely delighted to have my first real conversation with our friend and one of the spiritual leaders of the planet, Henrietta Goth Ellis. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Lou. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So yeah, we're just as I've been following your posts, and my God, your travels all over the planet, and just trying to keep up with you, and just happy to hear what you're up to. So what's happening today?
Oh, well, it's been a big day. It's actually been a really big week.
Right?
I've been experiencing lots of like miracles, actually, lots of really big shifts and support coming in.
Brilliant. We love that.
Um, I felt that December was going to be a game changer, and it feels like it really is.
Right?
I'm just rolling with it. It feels like the energy wave feels like a tsunami to me. I feel like I'm riding an energy wave tsunami.
Right? Right?
And, we've been in training for this for a while. But yeah, I've
Yes.
definitely been in training for this, and now everything feels like it's finally just coming together. After having many pieces in many different locations, and now it's just all coming into one. So that's been my experience this week. It's been quite a relief to know that all my visions and dreams, like, it's a step-by-step process, as we know, but the pieces are dropping in now. So I'm really
Well,
grateful for that.
yeah, hun, congratulations. That's brilliant to hear. I saw that you posted Sacred Leadership Gatherings 2020, Uluru in January, Egypt in March, and Peru in June. That's really brilliant.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this because I've known about it for over a year, and I've been really just like the shifting timelines. It's just been such a big theme, so much shifting and falling away. It's been really hard for me to anchor that and land it, but it's never changed. Lots around me has changed, but those locations and dates have been very much in my awareness for a year. And yeah, I was just guided to actually put it out there and to seed it in the consciousness of everyone, to see who's called to be part of these teams with me and these gatherings, because they're going to be really powerful at these sacred locations, and also aligned with specific planetary alignments.
Great, great. Well, I definitely want to talk to you about astrology, because that's something that we both really connect on. And I definitely want to get into that. But for people who are just meeting you for the first time, can you tell us how your journey has evolved, a brief outline of how you come to be where you're at right now?
Oh, that's a big question.
I know.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
Yeah, yeah.
um, Oh, how far back do I go? I'll just go a little bit. So basically, a few years ago, I separated from my partner,
Okay.
and the reason for that separation was that I was called to really step onto my path and my mission, which is sacred leadership, and I needed to do that solo. And so that was a catalyst. And since that separation, I just began traveling all over the planet and really seeding what we are now experiencing
Right.
in all these different locations. And, I'm not a solo operator. There are many other people that are unknown, unnamed, that do this same work as well.
Sure.
But yeah, that separation catalyzed my journey, and I was doing a lot of training, a lot of learning, a lot of work that I just somehow knew how to do,
Okay.
going to different sacred sites and doing planetary grid work. It's actually the work of the Templars.
Okay.
There's a holographic map of the stars that is embedded in our planetary body, and the false
Wow.
matrix has caused that to not function in its purity as it should. And
Right.
so these sacred sites as well have been, distorted, and there's been energetics that have been embedded in them that need to be removed for this time, so that when, you know, all of these planetary alignments build up like they are and this massive energy wave is coming in, they're all purified. And that's what I feel is happening now and into 2020. So that's when I feel guided to take people with me to these places on these journeys and gatherings, because they will be in their purity at that point.
Great, brilliant. Okay, well, that's a wonderful introduction. But can you tell us how you knew? You know, I love hearing people's stories of their own spiritual awakenings. So how you kind of made the shift from I think I am to I know I am. That's a maybe a good way to put it.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's been such a process. It's
Right.
really been a journey process. It wasn't just one day I woke up and knew.
Sure.
It's always been with me, this knowing inside.
Right.
And everything that I've done, like my education, my design business, everything that came before sacred leadership. And, you know, even my child, I've got a 10-year-old daughter as well. She was a massive catalyst
Right.
to my journey.
Sure.
It's been, yeah, in stages. And I work with a lot of people on the embodiment process, and I say that it happens in stages. It wasn't one moment, it was a collection and series of moments, and it's still happening now. Like, my expansion is still very much happening and very much alive. I haven't, you know, got there as such, but I'm definitely in a place where I feel like everything's lining up now, and I've reached a certain point where I'm ready to share with people and, you know, teach how to actually access this place within themselves, because that's how we're really going to come together in unity consciousness and co-create as sovereign beings.
Right. Brilliant. Well, yeah, can you tell us what that journey is like when we come to your wonderful events and this kind of thing?
Yeah, so I've been doing it solo and quite undercover for many years.
Right.
And it was only in the last 2 years that I started actually quite organically forming my own groups, usually on site. And some people, like I've got a team, and I've been working with this team for some time, and it's been very small, so intimate. Sometimes it's one-on-one, sometimes it's 2, 3, or 4 people. And now I'm working with couples as well that are coming into divine union, which is a whole nother, you know, aspect of what I'm doing, and their consciousness and their energy fields coming to these sacred places and really, you know, affecting the frequency, raising the consciousness of the planet through going to these specific places and sharing their energetic signatures together.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there a lot of emotional release work, a lot of heart opening? I mean, these are the things that I'm familiar with my work.
Yeah, it's a giving and receiving. And so basically I see like us as planetary bodies. And so when we go, we share our energy with the earth and with the cosmos, and we all connect in, and then we also receive from that sacred place. So yeah, there's a lot of potential for things to come up, but I feel like collectively we're moving through, you know, such a purge stage, and, you know, there are people coming out the other side of that ready to actually support on a much greater level. And I feel like part of the embodiment process for myself has actually been journeying to these sacred places to upgrade myself and to actually share my energy at these places. And so, yeah, does that answer your question?
Well, yes. No, you're doing fine. You're doing great. In your own journey, are you meditating every day? Are you connecting with Mother Earth every day? As we said, we want to get into a bit of astrology because that's a wonderful tool. How do you navigate your own ups and downs?
Yeah, so meditation was a key. Like, I would be doing it religiously every single day, you know, my morning practice. I think these are really, really important practices to do, and also consciously connecting with the earth and grounding our energy. More recently, like, my practice has evolved to less structured. So I don't consciously go, okay, I'm going to meditate for an hour. I just kind of go with it. And it's really connected to nature as well. So I'm always, when I'm meditating, I go out into nature. So I'm, going on walkabout and exploring and just being with the land, walking the land. And that really has become my meditation.
Right.
And when I'm doing ceremony or, work at these sacred sites, like the planetary work, then it will be consciously, okay, we're grounding our energy in now. And I might take people on a guided meditation, to the center of the planet, connecting up to the cosmos, and we might do a bit of a journey.
Okay.
Together. And that's what I used to do solo all the time, but it's happening very organically now and naturally, so the structure's kind of shifting. It's not so regimented.
Okay. All right. Very good. That's brilliant. What about your connection with the indigenous cultures of the world? Has that been a big step for you, a big part of the journey?
It has, and it's deep rooted, and I feel like I've always carried an Indigenous connection. I didn't grow up in an Indigenous community. It was, I had a very, different upbringing to that, but I've always been drawn to it. And when I go out in nature, like even when I was young, I would, get naked and cover myself in mud. And like, I've got a really strong connection with the Indigenous ways.
Right.
And, I think many of us do.
Sure.
And it's just about uncovering that. And it really came into my awareness when I had some, white-skinned Aboriginal women that looked very Western recognize me as one of them.
Right.
And I was like, I didn't know this was really possible. But with the bloodlines and everything that's happened with the stolen generation, there are many Indigenous people that do not look at all, and they're still very connected to their lineage. I'm not connected to, my lineage. If I am, if it's in my blood, I'm not sure, but I do feel like we all carry this potential, and it just needs to be unlocked and awakened. And that's part of the key, I feel, with sacred leadership. It's really about bridging, the cosmic consciousness with the earth and the Indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been, like I said, a very natural evolution for me. And I have a very deep connection with Indigenous people. Whenever I meet them, there's a really strong recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very much about supporting them and actually bringing their message to the world on a greater scale.
Great. Yeah, I relate to a lot of that. I've had connections with some of the indigenous cultures in North America, particularly the Lakota in North Dakota, and that was or South Dakota rather, that was a powerful opening to a lot of that, and there have been other times as well. And of course, doing this work as we've both done here for years, a lot of ritual on the land and sweat lodges, or, times of purification, deep prayer, fasting, praying, the Sundance, these kinds of things. And again, in the Western model, I'm sure there are, they all have so many things in common, all these sacred cultures, because we're all the earth keepers, and we see life as sacred, and Mother Earth is sacred. And, we're trying to bring this out into the Western consciousness, aren't we?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. That's great. Right. Yeah. Well, again, it's just, I'm sure we have a lot of things in common. It's just wonderful to get to hang out for a bit and connect about some of these things. Thank you. What's your take on 2020 and the astrology of December? And we got the 12/12 and the solstice and all that good stuff.
It's a lot to keep track of.
Yes. Yes.
And it's, it's been in my awareness and my consciousness and my calendar for many years this time.
Yes.
And it's felt like the years leading up have been real preparation. So in 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar, I think it was actually 2011, around early 2011 was when I really started getting a big, strong pull to actually have a mentor, and like I needed to clear myself, and I needed to work with someone to actually help me wake up and get onto my mission. And so I started working with a mentor in 2011, and that really accelerated things for me. It was like, it happened very quickly. And then suddenly I had many people coming to me, sharing information and sacred knowledge. And it was very quick. Yeah. And so then I began, I began getting visions of Uluru. And I just sort of thought, oh yeah, okay, Uluru's coming in. And at this point I wasn't consciously doing planetary grid work. Okay. And it was actually the solstice, December 21 in 2012. I was guided to go to Uluru. And right. Yeah, I'd started having dreams a few days before, and I was like, this doesn't make sense. I'm a little bit crazy. Who does this? What's going on? Am I going solo? Am I taking my family? Like, what is this? And I just had to drop everything, trust, book the flight and get there. And so I did that. And the more practice that I have had trusting the inner compass, and that's what, you know, some people refer to me as is the compass, and yes, helping people align to the true north. Right. The more that I do that, the more confirmation I get afterwards. But yes, it's still, I still feel like I'm jumping off cliffs on a day-to-day basis. When I'm following it, it's like, okay, I don't know what's happening. It's very much moment to moment. And it's difficult to really plan ahead. But, you know, definitely with 2020, I've had these places and dates in my mind and my heart for so long that it just feels like that's anchored, and everything else is still, you know, in the air. But you know,
Brilliant. Well, that's great. I mean, I'd love to come to any of those, and I would love to, of course, connect in person. You were just here in Scotland, I think, a few months ago.
Oh, that was huge. Yes. I've got Scottish ancestry, actually. Right. So my dad's side, or my father's side, right, and I was guided there. I had actually a few months notice. Usually I don't get a lot of notice for when I travel. It's like maybe a few weeks, and then it's like, okay, get there now. And I had about 3 months preparation, and that was huge, because after I committed, I followed the guidance, all the signs, I committed to Scotland. My next relationship ended abruptly. All right. Straight after I took that trip. And so there was a massive initiation for me to actually get to Scotland and purify my energy field. And that's basically symptomatic of many of my trips. Before I go anywhere, there's a bit of a shift and a change, and I have to purify and empty myself out and become the chalice and really be empty, so I can actually do the work that's required of me. Right. So Scotland was massive, and I was part of a group with Grace Solaris, and it was called the Return of the Christos Sophia. Right. So we were traveling around Scotland, doing some beautiful ceremonies, and it was it was quite a lot. It was a very big group, and I usually work very small scale, very intimate, so it was different to me. And I've got my own way I like to run things, so I came up against a few challenges of how it was being organized and run as a sacred group, right. Which then I guess it really helped catalyze and prompt me that, you know, I'm really ready to take my own groups now and hold my own space. Yes, brilliant. Did you go to Roseline Chapel? I did. I ended up there on my birthday. It was the most special experience ever, and it just aligned so beautifully. And I had a gorgeous girlfriend actually come up from Glastonbury to meet me. Right. And a group formed, my own group, after the Scotland group that was quite massive. So on my birthday I had a group of 7 women, right, and we experienced Roseline Chapel together, and it was absolutely magnificent. I'm sure it was. I mean, I just know of it through the Da Vinci Code, but that whole film and book and story, of course, was just a great way to publicize Mary Magdalene as well, and the whole female Christ consciousness, and to begin to bring the divine feminine back into people's awareness and back into our lives. And
yes, you and 7 women at Roseline Chapel on your birthday sounds pretty special, pretty sacred.
It was so special and so sacred, and I had a lot of soul remembrance there actually.
Great, great, great.
It was really big, and yeah, that place it feels like home to me. It's definitely got a place in my heart. So it was hard to leave. Let's put it that way.
Sure, sure, sure. And then, Henrietta, I know you were in California recently.
Yeah.
Where were you, in LA or San Francisco?
No, so I stayed in Sacramento to start with, and then I went up to Mount Shasta.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah, Mount Shasta was a really big piece, and Mount Shasta and Uluru have some quite strong connections, and I've been working both with Shasta and Uluru and Egypt remotely because I haven't been there in the physical yet.
Right.
And yeah, I hadn't been to Shasta either. So Shasta is on the masculine line, Uluru is on the feminine line, and I hadn't actually made contact with that masculine line on that side of the states. And that actually runs down through Sedona and Palenque, actually. So it was really powerful. I've been guided to Shasta for so long, but the time has not been right. And then it was just like, okay, now it wasn't a planned trip. I felt that I'd be in the States at the end of the year. I just didn't really know how that would be orchestrated. Sure. And a few pieces came together, and I ended up presenting at a beautiful conference called Odyssey, which was a large group of visionary New Earth leaders. And yeah, that was my first kind of overseas presentation on sacred leadership. And it was really beautiful. They put me in a redwood amphitheater in the forest, and it was just perfect. So yeah, I was really had a beautiful time there. But yeah, Shasta was huge.
Yeah, I've been to Shasta about a half dozen times. There's a writer named Joshua David Stone who would do WESAC conferences there, and I got to be a part of his work up there. And it's such a special place, such an amazing sacred place. Summer or winter, I've been both times. And then I lived in Sedona for about a month, and I was about an hour and a half from Sedona for about a year in Prescott, a beautiful part of Arizona. And so I would come to Sedona and do my channeling groups there for about a year every weekend. And that's Sedona, an amazing place. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, being from LA, I've been to all those spots over there. I recommend if you get a chance, get up to Banff and Lake Louise and Alberta at some point. That's also quite a sacred place in that part of the world.
That's been on my list, and I've actually been a few times now, I think 3 over to Canada. So Vancouver Island, Whistler, I've been focusing around that area, but definitely Banff is on my radar.
Yeah, it's otherworldly, just like Shasta and Sedona. Palenque sounds very exciting as well. I mean, there's just so many places on the planet to check out.
There are so many places, and lucky they're all connected energetically. So, you know, we can kind of get a bit of a taste, but yeah, I want to do it all. I want to go everywhere. Yes,
of course. Of course, me too. And were you sharing that your daughter got to play Odin in a play recently?
She did, yeah. She was chosen. It was the Theft of Thor's Hammer. And that was her first stage debut.
Okay, great. Her acting debut, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. How was that? How was that for her?
She was so good. And the week before, I've actually got, I had my auntie and uncle come and visit, and they're in the film industry, and one of them is an actress. And so my daughter got some private acting lessons the week before. So that happened just in beautiful divine timing. And, you know, she was great. She was so great. I'm so proud of her, because with me, she's, you know, very extroverted, and then as soon as she has an audience, it's like she gets all timid. And so I was really not sure how she would actually do on stage, like how's she going to do this, but she just stepped into the role so well and really owned it. And she is quite an Odin, like she's quite a wisdom keeper, and she surprises me every day with what comes out of her mouth. I'm just, in awe, really. I share some of it on my page every now and then when it really hits me. But yeah, she's incredible.
That's great. That's great. And that someone was wise enough to let a little girl play Odin, I think is a sign of the times.
I totally agree. I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
Yes.
brilliant. Well, it just gets better and better. So, Henrietta, I just sit here and chat with you all day long, my friend. If I could, I know it's late for you. Can you talk about your sacred leadership group? You've been kind enough to invite me to be a part of that. Is that open, or is that just by invitation, or how does that work?
Right now, this is an open group. I'm putting together a membership site, which I'll be able to go deeper with people. It'll be a smaller container with much more intimate interaction and content. But right now, yeah, this one is open, and I just share things that come to me that are resonant, and I feel the energetics, and that's sort of what that page is. And I'm hoping to kind of like, I feel like with this energy it's going to power up, because there's a lot of beautiful souls in that group that have incredible gifts. So I'm kind of looking at, yeah, sharing that more with everyone, like generating that, you know, co-creation, I guess,
Right.
with the group, because it has been me for quite a long time, just kind of like sharing, and I'm like, okay guys, it's time to like all really come together and generate this field together.
Yes. Well, count me in, my friend. I mean, I'm just thrilled to get to connect with you here and to see what you're about. Do you know my friend Ingrid Turner, who has a Bava mission group in California? I'll have to connect the two of you, because yeah, Ingrid and I have worked together, and we have we partner together doing teachings, and yeah, so I'm just sensing this whole, you know, global wisdom keepers network kind of thing coming together more and more. And I feel so much of what you said that I've been getting ready for this year and this time my whole life as well. And, you know, it's the same here, hon. It has its challenges, and it's profoundly humbling, and frequently humiliating if I don't pay attention. And it is a real thing, and it has its own agenda, its own timing, and its own wisdom. So it's just a joy to be on the path here with you, Henrietta. Thank you for showing up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you too. It's just such an honor to connect with people on the path, because it's not so much that you come in contact with them, but now we're all gathering together, and it's feeling really, really supported. Everyone's mission coming together.
Great. Well, let's do this again soon, and I will follow your adventures, and I trust you'll keep me posted on what's happening, and we'll create the new reality that we've all come here to dream into being. I'm delighted to connect with you again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lou. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So people can find you on Facebook. Is there anywhere else you want to send them to?
Facebook's probably the best for now. I'm on Instagram as well, Henrietta_Sacred Leadership. You can find my Sacred Leadership group on my personal page, Henrietta Goth Ellis. And I also have a website, it's sacredleadership.com.au. And that's basically just a landing page at this stage. We're building it from the back end right now to launch in 2020. So that's coming together.
Great. And people need to keep in their calendar these great events that are coming up in the next year. And yeah, I hope I'll be at one of them to work. I
do too.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll see what unfolds. It's an exciting, wonderful time, isn't it?
It really is. It's it's go time.
Yeah. Well, sweetie, I want to thank you for your courage to just keep walking in faith and putting it out there. You're a real inspiration. So thank you so much for all that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that deeply. Really, I do, because we all question ourselves, don't we?
We do. And say what? Say again?
But we all question ourselves, don't we? Like, what am I doing?
Sure. Well, my classic is who, me? And it's like, yes, you. Yes. You volunteered. You just didn't know it. So here we go. Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. Well, hun, have a wonderful evening, and my love to you and your daughter, and we'll chat again soon. Yeah?
Great. Great. Thanks, Lou. Have a
Thanks.
beautiful day.
Thanks a million. Peace and blessings.
Peace. Bye.
Bye for now.